Alrighty, welcome back, everyone. We just talked about Brian Kelly and his interesting comments around NIL, saying they are not in the market of buying players. He's kind of right, he's kind of not right, but I got into that a little bit, so if you want to check out that on the segment, or on the channel, you absolutely can. But let's talk about Monte Harrison. This is one of the weirdest, one of the coolest stories that I've seen in college football in quite some time. It's something that I absolutely love, and I think is going to be making a lot of people mad, but will be very, very fun to watch. So, Monte Harrison is a guy that you probably don't know of, unless you were very, very into recruiting in 2014, then maybe you do. But if you're a Miami Marlins fan or or Angels fan, maybe you do as well. And yes, you heard me right. Those are two MLB teams. So this guy was a big-time high school recruit when he was coming out. He was a four-star wide receiver that in the class of 2014 was with guys like Deebo Samuel and Isaiah McKenzie, was actually rated above DJ Chark in that recruiting class. So a very talented kid, was committed to Nebraska to play football and baseball. But then something happened, and he got drafted into the MLB in the second round. And I think everyone, including myself, would make the decision, I'm going to go to the MLB, I'm going to make some money. So that's exactly what he did. And it was an interesting time for the 10 years that he was in the MLB. He bounced around from minor league to professional, played professional for the Marlins and the Angels, as I said. And during his 57 career MLB at-bats, hit a 176 average, 2 home runs, over 10 seasoned, over professional ball overall, minor league and everything included. Hit 242, 97 home runs, 230 stolen bases, and spent time with the Angels, as we said, in 2022. So not that far removed from the MLB is this guy, and obviously some speed with him with those 230 stolen bases. So as a senior at Lee Summit West High in Missouri, in 2013, he caught 60 passes, over 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, signed his letter of intent to Nebraska, the Bo Pelini, Nebraska, if you remember that era. And he had offers from Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Kansas State, Michigan State, Missouri. So this was a very highly sought-after kid. This was the guy that was right below the, elite of the elite wide receivers in that class. So very, very big-time recruit. And when he got drafted in the MLB, found his way into baseball, but just a little bit ago, I guess, he turned over to football and said, why not? Let's go try that again. So there will be people online that will tell you, this guy's got to get a job, or this guy's got to get a 9-to-5, or move on, give it up, whatever. And you'll find mostly those guys have very little athletic ability and never played high-level sports, but that's beside the point. This guy is incredible in my mind. I'm being totally honest. I think there are a lot of people that, when Stetson Bennett was deep in his Georgia career, or Bo Nix a year ago, there's infinite. Michael Penix is another example of guys that are a little bit older that get a little bit of jokes on Twitter and things of that nature, where they say they got to go get a job, they got to go get ready to sell insurance, whatever it is. So this guy will get fun poked at him. But here's the thing. Playing football and playing professional football at this point at the college level is so much cooler than what 95% of the population does on a daily basis. Like, being out there as an Arkansas Razorback, going through drills, being an elite athlete is so much cooler than what I'm doing on a daily basis. It's so much cooler than what all of us, for the most part, are doing on a daily basis. So do it as long as you possibly can. If your body is able to play college football right now, play college football. I mean, shoot, like, it's a great way to go about your time. And also, he's being a walk-on. So especially if you're not taking away a scholarship from another kid, do your thing. It's going to be incredible to watch. And so I don't think anyone's going to be able to change my mind on how awesome this is. I think this is going to be one of the coolest stories ever. I really hope he becomes, like, one of the best receivers for Arkansas this upcoming year, although that is a very, very long shot. But at the end of the day, it's really cool to watch. It's a kid, being able to live out one dream and play in the MLB, and then go back and take another shot and live out possibly another dream and playing in college football. So it's going to be fascinating to watch this guy. There could be a 32-year-old making plays for Arkansas in 2027. So it's going to be wild to watch this. It's going to be one of the most interesting things that we've seen in college football in quite some time. But I think one of the big things here is I think a lot of people, when they look at this situation in particular, I think they'll look at it as this is just a guy that wants to go dominate kids and wants to go back and, live out the glory days and utilize his superior strength or whatever. They try to tear him down in some way, saying he made this decision for any number of reasons. I would argue the most likely decision that was made was he wants to go back and get his degree. He never got a chance to go to college and have that experience. He wants to go back, get that piece of paper, and then he looked over and said, well, I'm pretty good at football. I might as well give a chance and join the Razorbacks. So I think it was more, school preceded the football decision, but regardless of what the decision was made, I'm all for it. I think this is going to be incredible to watch. I think he's someone that I'm going to be really hoping to see on my screen in 2024 in the fall, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be awesome to watch this guy, and honestly, this is not something that is totally unheard of, although there hasn't been someone that made it all the way to the MLB that then find their way back. Chris Winke, who is someone who is a fantastic player who has, tons of history in college football, was drafted in 1990 to the NFL after coming out of high school. He was committed to Florida State at the time, was actually on campus in August for about 4 days, but then got drafted, decided to go into the MLB, was in the single A affiliate for the Blue Jays, was all over the place, but Bobby Bowden told him right when he left, essentially, he has a scholarship for him whenever he wants to come back. And he decided to come back. 6 years later, he decided to come back to Florida State in 1996 after 6 years in the minor leagues, and he had a remarkable career. As I'm sure some of you remember, it was a little bit before my time, but he won a Heisman Trophy in 2000, was one of, the heydays for Florida State football when you remember those teams, so was a huge part of that. So this is not necessarily the craziest thing in the world. This is not something that we have absolutely no precedent for, so it'll be really interesting to see if Monte Harrison can follow that same path. Now, he's not going to win a Heisman. I can say that pretty confidently, but he could be someone that maybe we find him on the field on Saturdays and 3:30 on CBS, and he wows us. Who knows? Maybe he really, really bursts onto the scene and goes to the NFL at 33 years old. I don't know, but it'll be incredible to watch this kid. I think one of the really, really cool things about college football and college sports in general is the eligibility doesn't run out. You have every ability to find your way back to something that you loved as a high schooler and loved as a kid, and get your shot at it. So Monte Harrison obviously made a decision that is going to be one that raises a lot of eyebrows, is going to be one that a lot of people decide to tear down or decide to make fun of him or, do whatever, because that's what people online like to do. But this guy is doing something that I wish I would be able to do, to be totally honest with you. If I could live out his life right now, I would trade places in an instant. When you talk about being able to play on the biggest stage in baseball and then go back and being able to play in front of SEC stadiums, that's about as good of a life as it gets. So hopefully, all this goes very, very smoothly for Harrison. Hopefully he's able to, get on the field a little bit, get a degree, do all the things that he came to do. And I think it's just an awesome thing. I think it's something that gives these guys who want to come back to school and have that eligibility something to do. And it gives them another way to enjoy their time in college and get to know people and possibly get back into a sport that they love so much. I mean, someone like Monte Harrison was a huge recruit in high school, so when you talk about that, that means he was around the sport for a very, very long time during that time in his life, and I think it could be this is a stepping stone to get back into it. So it'll be really fascinating to find out what happens with all of this. I think he is one of the most fascinating stories in all of college football right now, and likely will be for a number of years going forward, but this is just a really, really cool story, if you were to ask me, and I think it's something that people will really, really be coming around on slowly as it kind of goes on. But Monte Harrison, officially an Arkansas Razorback, officially a part of the SEC, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if some of that baseball skills can transfer over and if he can unlock some of that elite athletic ability he had back in the day as a wide receiver down there in Missouri. So it'll be fascinating to watch. It'll be one of the best stories throughout this year and the next couple of years. But shout out to Sam Pittman for giving this guy an opportunity. Shout out to Monte Harrison for taking the leap that I think a lot of us would be a little bit scared to take. But it's going to be a great story, and I cannot wait to watch it unfold. But we're going to take our final break here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about Clemson, and we're going to talk about a hot take Thursday I have on them. Their portal strategy has been very, very steadfast for the past couple of years, but I think they might have just passed the point of no return. So I want to get into that right after this, so stick with us.